and then record. Okay. Welcome everyone to Going the Distance, the Rocky series and Creed podcast. I'm joined just with Katie today. How you doing, Katie?
Hola, good. How are you?
Good, doing well. If you're watching this video, you'll see behind me I'm in a hotel. We're traveling across the country, fly out tomorrow back to Victoria, British Columbia. The day has arrived, and doesn't mean we can't record, so we're taking advantage of that, and we're doing some recording.
You're a true professional, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks. You're probably the only person who's ever thought that. I appreciate that. Well, this is kind of like part one of part two of our season finale. Our last recording, we had some guests from the Patreon guests joined the discussion, and I think that went really well. What are your thoughts on that discussion?
Good, good. And I was glad to see that. Oh shoot! Now I'm forgetting his name.
There was Patrick, and there was Paul, and then there was Louise.
Paul was jazzed about watching the Rambo movies after you asked him if he had planned to listen. So
that's right.
Like he does plan to listen. So that was cool. And I thought it was awesome. I think it was a good discussion. And I was also impressed that Patrick joined us all the way from Germany.
Yeah, I know. He got up at 3 a.m. to join our live discussion. So that's a little shout out to our patrons for doing that. And if you want to become a patron for as low as $1 a month, you can get an invite to our season finale of Creed 2. And it's kind of cool. You can join myself, Kyle, and Katie, join the live discussion. So you heard what that was like, and if that interests you, great. If it doesn't, we could still appreciate the tip because it helps pay for the feed, and all the hours I spend editing is a nightmare. I also want to say Kyle can't be here because he's just busy with work, he said. So we miss him. But today we're just going to read emails. So that's what we're doing. And part two of season finale, part two, I'll be joined by Adrian Wallet. He is the host of the Arcade Attack podcast from the UK. They're a pretty big podcast, actually. They have a big audience, and we appreciate him and his patronage. He's actually a patron and a fan of our show. So it's very humbling when a podcaster enjoys your podcast because it's, they do it. And if they like what you're doing, it's kind of a good sign.
Indeed.
Or just means he sucks and so do we, and that's fine. And we're just no, I'm just joking. Adrian's such a cool guy. And so he'll be going over so he'll be doing the deleted scenes with me. He joined us on Rocky Balboa season 6 season finale. He broke down the deleted scenes. We're gonna do that again. So he's gonna nice. Have that honor. Yeah. Partly too, you won't be able to join, I don't think, because of the time. I think you might be working during the day.
Probably.
Yeah. So I'll send you the time. You can join for whatever reason. Yeah, because he's UK time. I'm going to be off during the day, and yeah. So that's how that works. Okay. Well, let's just roll right into. We have a lot of big emails, so there'll be some good talking points here. But let's see what some of the listeners have to say.
All right. So this is from Patrick. Hello, Ryan, Kyle, and Katie. This is Creed season finale is the subject. Just wanted to say that it was great to be part of the season finale of your podcast. I had a great time. I was a bit nervous, however, as it was the first time for me doing this with English not being my native language.
You nailed it.
Side note, yeah, I was just going to say he speaks better English than we do, probably.
Yeah. It doesn't say Johns, yawns, or
yeah. Patrick says, I'm looking forward to the Creed 2 coverage. And if there's an opportunity down the line to be part of the Creed 2 or the Rambos, I'll be there, even if it's in the middle of the night. I attached some pictures of my Rocky oil paintings. Oh, yeah, he had some, they were originals in his background, like in his living room. So he attached, he's got 5 of them here. Are you putting them up, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. So this is from Patrick?
Yes. Oh, wow.
Now, people probably just saw my picture, my browser. It's funny because it was a girl in a bikini. There's a story behind that.
Sure there is. Sure there is.
It's an actress. She was from the Expendables 3 movie. We just covered that on the channel.
Oh.
And I don't know if you heard the episode or if you're going to listen to the episode, but we talked about there was a very small part that one of the actresses had where she played Mel Gibson's wife. and I creeped her on the internet to see what her deal was, what she's been in, and so their image search came up, and of course there was a lot of bikini pictures. So that was the story there, ladies and gentlemen. Why there was, yeah. Anyways, her name's Natalie Byrne.
Mhm.
Stop it! I didn't Google Natalie Byrne bikini pictures. They just okay. So here's the
That just
paint.
happened to show up.
She's that's what she likes to put on the internet. Put it that way, yeah. Here we go. Here's the oil paintings. That now the artist's name is Bill Pruitt. So if you are seeing this video, you are seeing these paintings. They're really cool. These are originals that I guess Patrick paid for to have sent to his house to Germany.
Yeah. What did he say now? Gosh, I forget the story about Bill Pruitt. And he, were they from the restaurant? Is that where this originally came from?
No, I think Bill is just an artist. Like I say, just an artist, but he's an artist who I guess you just commission work from him.
Oh,
And
I forgot what Patrick said, how he learned, how he discovered Bill
oh, I don't
to begin
remember.
with.
Sorry. Yeah,
Anyway,
I forget too how he got a hold of him. But I'm just showing our video viewers, yeah, these paintings going back and forth. He's got the Rocky 3 fight, the Rocky Balboa run up the steps with what's the dog's name again? Punchy?
Punchy.
Yeah, yeah.
I miss Punchy.
Oh, Punchy's dead probably. All
I
right.
know. I think he needs a new dog though.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. All right. What else we got from him on that? Oh, is that it?
Okay.
Oh no,
So
no,
then
he
her
always got
discussion.
oh yeah.
No, there's a, so we had a discussion about Rocky. Maybe we were questioning how awesome of a father he was. So he said, after our discussion, I was thinking about Rocky being a bad father again. I
Mm.
did think so too yesterday. Going through the movies one more time, though, it's not that clear anymore. Rocky 2, feelings towards were positive. His decision to not see his son but wait for Adrian until she wakes up again is debatable, but that's just the way he feels. To share that moment with Adrian, the scene between the two training montages shows him bringing Robert to bed. In his victory speech, he says that the birth of his son is one of the two greatest moments of his life. So all is well in Rocky 2. Rocky 3. Robert is just a side character here, but Rocky treats him just fine. It could be argued that Robert is still too young to accompany his parents for the training in Los Angeles. Rocky 4, great scene between Rocky and Robert before Rocky is leaving for Russia. No way they would take the kid to Russia to live in that cabin for a few weeks, especially that Adrian stays in Philadelphia too. We don't know when Adrian arrives in Russia, could be 2 weeks before the fight, so Robert staying home is just fine. In his victory speech, Rocky says he loves him. Things are on track after the first 4 movies, but get more complicated after that. Rocky 5. The relationship between Rocky and Robert is one of the big themes in Rocky 5, and to be complicated to create some drama. Here, Rocky seems to choose Tommy over Robert, but just because Rocky is lost, Tommy seems to be Rocky's only way out of his and his family's misery. Neglecting his son because of that might not be very mature, but it is what it is. Rocky loses his way, but finds it again and makes up with Robert. Rocky Balboa. Rocky wants Rocky wants to be around Robert. This time it's Robert who doesn't want to live in Rocky's shadow and keeps a distance. Not really Rocky's fault though. All is well in the end though. Creed. Rocky has pictures of his son in Polly's old room. We don't really know why Rocky hasn't got any contact with Robert anymore. Maybe the hype around Rocky's fight with Mason Dixon was too much in the end, and he decided to leave Philly. Robert being too stubborn and Rocky not knowing how to deal with this situation could be responsible for their lack of contact. Why Rocky hasn't told Robert about his disease is anybody's guess. Maybe Rocky's telling himself that because they didn't talk for long, he didn't want to break the silence with his cancer news, or he wants to protect Robert's seemingly happy life. Creed 2, same situation as in Creed. The only thing really strange is that Rocky doesn't know his grandson. In the end, we are treated with a very touching ending, though. So, all in all, I wouldn't say that Rocky is a bad father anymore, but the circumstances and some decisions on both sides leads to a strained relationship. Looking forward to the next episode. All the best, Patrick. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Well, did you notice how he organized his notes?
I did. As I was reading through it, I was thinking, oh, we were commenting, listeners, and complimenting Patrick that he's always so well organized. And And so of course he's keeping up that
Yeah, it was great. It was.
keeping it up.
I think the emails are exposing just our listeners are probably better at this than we are. At least better than I am. Um, they're able to, well, it's not fair to Marcel's because they write it down. And I think when you write things down, you can organize your thoughts better than you just, verbal
Yeah.
diarrhea.
Yeah.
But I will say what he said is spot on. And in fact, it gives a good analysis of people. Well, here's the thing: a lot of people kind of make that joke or assumption. Oh, Rocky was a horrible father, and I think he does a very good job of showing. I don't know if that's really true. I don't think he's a horrible father. I mean, I don't know. In fact, I would say he's a pretty good father.
Yeah.
And you could almost argue from what we just read there from Patrick, you could almost make the argument maybe Robert's not a great son. Maybe he's not a very forgiving person. Like it seems like Rocky did try to, even the thing of Rocky 5, like, so Robert's mad because Rocky's training somebody. That's his job. He's a trainer. He's a boxing trainer. And he's enjoying his relationship with somebody. Like it'd be like I have kids, as you know. It'd be like my kids being mad at me for having friends at work.
I would say I agree. So as much as it pains me to criticize Milo Ventimiglia at all, it's not his fault. It's just his character. In Rocky Balboa, I remember when I watching that thinking, like, come on, dude, like give your
Right.
dad a break. Like I remember thinking that. In Rocky 5, though, as Patrick points out, it is a big theme. And of all the movies, it's purposeful that we're supposed to see Robert be jealous. And like there are a few times that like giving that he was planning to give Tommy the necklace or
Right. That's
there
stung.
were
Of
a
course,
few,
that's
yeah,
fair. That's stung. You're right. And
there were
that,
a few things
but he
that were
gave it
like, oh
back.
man, yeah, yeah.
But he at the
So
end, and they seemed like they had resolved. So, and here's the other thing about Rocky 5. People criticize Rocky 5. I've even seen people say it's not canon, which is ridiculous
yeah,
because
that is ridiculous.
it blows my mind how does it explains again the poverty, explains, even it shows you where the fork in the road of the relationship started at the very least. So Rocky 6 or Rocky Balboa, it makes sense in context that maybe at the end of the film of Rocky 5, there seemed to be some healing, but maybe not everything got worked out. And I don't know. Just when Robert was thinking he was getting out of his father's shadow, and we could also argue their relationship maybe got strained a little bit when I think we talked about this during the season 6, but the relationship got strained because of the death of the mother and the wife. And Adrian was kind of the brought
Glue.
glue that brought the two men together. And she's gone out of the picture. It's hard for them to like, oh, it's awkward. We I'm not saying this is my situation with my parents, but I have a different relationship. Well, it's true. I have a different relationship with my mom than my dad, or my dad than my mom. I love them both the same, but the things that I maybe share with my mom are different than the things I share with my dad. I think it's pretty common with most kids, with most parents. They have different relationships or different things that they are comfortable doing. And if you take maybe the one person out, you're like, oh, the things that I was comfortable with the one person, I'm not with the other, and I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's sort of just like a running joke. I don't know if everybody who says that, it's like a joke that, oh, Rocky's not, the kids an afterthought. Like it's like I don't know if how serious people are. I'm sure some people are, but yeah, I think like looking back on it the way that Patrick has, he's not. He's human
Mhm.
and he's being a human father. I mean, I did wonder. I mean, and this is why he's a deep character as well, because these are things that like real families go through. Like
Yeah.
sometimes there is, maybe something didn't happen. It's just for whatever reason, so much time passes. Like, so I rewatched Creed 2
Oh,
this week
recently? Oh, wow.
because we're going to be covering Creed 2.
Right.
So I wanted to rewatch it.
Do you like it better than Creed 1?
Of course, absolutely. Like, of course. Oh yeah. Oh, you're making fun of me.
Well, not making fun. No. I wasn't making fun. I just wanted to hear you get excited about a Creed film. That's all.
Oh yeah. Yes, it was. I wanted more of it. Like when it was over, I was like, no.
Did you cry at the
but
end?
No, this time I didn't. I think
Because you're
I just
ready for it?
wasn't- Yeah.
Right.
But he doesn't know his grandkid. Like that's weird.
Yeah,
But
well, they
then I was
haven't
like,
met. I would assume, has he not seen pictures? Well, so I think at the very end, if they haven't seen the grandkid or grandfather, like or even pictures of, I mean, the child was young, but 4, maybe 5.
hmm yeah,
So it's time can go by very quickly when people
true.
stop talking.
Yeah,
And it's one of those things where the more you don't talk, the more awkward it will be when you start talking.
exactly. And he like what, and you even see him in Creed 2, he like picks up the phone a few times to call him,
Yes.
and then he doesn't. And so as an audience member, we're like, no, just do it, Rocky, just do it. You have to, but he can't. And so it's yeah,
The
he's human.
the blame is also on Robert. That's the thing. I don't know how much of a bad father Rocky is compared to Robert. They're just both equally stubborn and don't know how to deal with their feelings. I think at the end of the day, they're both just human, but they obviously love each other. They're just awkward. I think
Yeah.
awkward might be the only. Uh, yeah. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you, Patrick, for that.
Yeah.
Was that everything from him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So then perhaps too late for some feedback, question mark. Oh, this is from Kim.
Oh, sorry. One sec. One sec. Guys. Okay, I'll mute my microphone while you read. Okay, go. Sorry. Go ahead. Start that again.
She says, "Hi Ryan, I remember jotting down some notes for a few episodes back and realized I never sent you my feedback. So if you'd like to just share with Katie and Kyle and not the air, that's cool. But here it is. I would not have opened back up the door after closing it on Adonis. I agree with Kyle on his sentiment about how when someone does something hurtful to me, I say my piece and I need space to digest it, regardless of the begging and pleading coming from the other side. Opening the door always allows for something to continue on and back and forth. Kim's so much stronger in this department than I am. She says, I'd want to open the door too, but what's best for me is to keep it shut in the moment. It's tough. It's like dieting after New Year's. You want something so bad, even though it's not good for you, and you just have to keep the door closed because that's what's best for you. Bad example, but you get my drift. Maybe that's why I never keep a diet. I can't. I have no
Yeah,
willpower.
it
No
it
willpower.
shows. It shows. Continue.
She says, oh, then she's commenting on Justin Bieber's song. I guess the song is called Anyone. She says,
Yeah.
I love Bieber's voice, so I watched it after you mentioned it in the last podcast. Here's my take. I understand how a video like this, particularly because it's Bieber and not someone like Eminem, I agree with Kyle, would totally piss you guys off. Even knowing how you felt about it, though, I enjoyed the video up until the point where he actually started fighting opponents. He knocked them all out, and that was dumb. He had barely a scratch on him through the whole fight clip series, which just annoyed me. I just finished watching Kingdom, and probably because it's still so top of mind, I was like, geez, this pretty boy needs to be roughed up a lot more. But I think I enjoyed more because I don't have the love connection with Rocky like you do. I guarantee you, if I had that same passion for Rocky movies and characters, I'd be pissed too. So I totally get it. The one thing that really bothered me is that pretty boy Justin was barely touched. I love fight movies, and I can see where it would insult Rocky fans for sure. And yes, where the hell were they? What the hell were they trying to do with the time period thing? Just make it a modern day fight video and be done with it. The girl was dressed like Jackie O, and the old fashioned cameras at the end. It was all wrong. I definitely agree with you on that.
Now,
Thanks, Kim.
Kim's your friend, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that I just for context for any listeners that might be listening to this or have forgotten, Kim I think she's our only listener who hasn't seen the film, the Creed film. So that's why she's saying she
Or
recognizes
any of the
that.
Rockies. She's not seen the Rocky movies.
I thought she saw something with you, not yet.
Not yet. Sometimes she will watch them all with me, and she's like familiar with the concept. Like
Sure.
maybe one back in the day, she's probably saw some of it, but she's never like actually seen the movie.
It's like you're familiar with King Kong with maybe never seen the film. Like
Yeah.
it's in the ethos of lexicon of entertainment. People are aware of the character. Yeah. Okay. So she's one of our listeners who's never seen the Creed films, but she's enjoying her coverage. That's crazy. So she can understand. I appreciate that she's like, hey, it wasn't a bad song, but and this is not a slight on her, but that's why I would say people would be critical of our criticism because we are like I think I was the least. I think Kyle was the most pissed off. I think you were in second, and I was in third. My feeling is kind of like Kim's. I think it's not a bad song. It's fine. It's a harmless pop song. There's nothing overtly wrong or irritating about the song. It's just the Rocky I didn't feel the Rocky spirit or inspired by the song. I didn't get pumped up. I didn't get emotional. It just fell flat. And I know that his intent was probably not that. So that's why I give him a little
Right.
bit of a break. I don't think he was trying to be quote unquote disrespectful to an iconic character. I think he was actually, that's what I mean, in his Bieberish way, he was trying to show his love of the character.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he intended
Ill will or
anything malicious or anything.
I
It
think he was
was
trying
just
hard to make a fun video in the spirit of Rocky, but I'd be curious though if he
fell
does like the
flat.
film. Like he must. I couldn't imagine he's
I mean, are there people who don't like it though? Like, I mean, even if
there are
you
a lot
don't
of
love
people.
it, but even if you don't really like, I can see people being like, "Oh, it's fine," but like not liking it at all seems
I talk to
odd.
people on Twitter. Well, I don't talk to them. I'll respond to people on Twitter. I know it's bait, but I can't help it. With every now and then you get people say like, "Oh, the Rocky movies are shite. Don't at me or whatever." And like it's crazy like to think that they're garbage. It's weird like they're garbage. Like I know you don't like Star Wars, for example. Like you don't,
Mhm.
but I don't think you would say they're garbage. Like you couldn't like meaning just the production value alone. Like you
Right.
can't like it's a well put together movie. You might not enjoy the storyline or the ideas behind it, but to say the movie is garbage,
Yeah. Like I saw the first Lord of the Rings movie, but none of the others, and I hated it.
oh boy. I'm surprised we even like each other.
I know, but I don't I don't say that it's a bad movie. I didn't it's not for me.
No, and well, that makes sense. I understand that. Like,
But I don't say like
right.
I still can recognize that it was probably a wonderful film for people
Of
who would
course.
like
Oh,
that movie.
I
Yeah.
think I brought this up before about Rush,
Yeah.
the band Rush.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay, I might have. I don't know. I with Rush, for example, their band. I recognize they're very talented. Like I understand these three guys. Neil Peart, the drummer, rest in peace. I recognize that these three guys are incredibly talented. They have a huge amount of fans, and they're like, when it comes to progressive rock, they're worshipped.
Mhm.
But the songs don't excite me. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what you want me to say. So
Same.
yeah. So when I speak to Rush fans, they're like it blows their mind and I'm always very respectful. That's the difference. Like I try to be like, I understand that they're talented. I recognize that they can play their instruments around people's like they can spin circles around people's heads with their talent. However, what they compose doesn't necessarily excite me. I don't know what to say. Like I can't
Yeah.
change how I react. So with Lord of the Rings, you recognize, hey, this is a well put together film, but I'm not excited by it.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
son sees himself in the camera. He's like,
Aw.
Grayson. It's Grayson Stallone, by the way.
Oh, hi, Grayson.
His middle name's Stallone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Truly.
All
Okay, so
right.
then the next email is from Brian
Yeah, Brian.
Branco.
He gave us a
And
few, but they're all very, very informative here, as per Brian's style. And Brian's a new patron, by the way. So thank you, Brian, for that.
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So there's this is the one, it's called Creed and Rocky is the subject, and there are a number of attachments.
Okay.
So he will probably reference them. Okay. Hello again, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to read my last email, which is a chapter from my new book. Haha, just kidding. It sounds better when someone else reads it. Here I go again with my detailed info, trying to get others to think the way I do. Ryan mentioned about me getting back to him about the scene at Donnie's work. If you look at the area I circled, it looks like the art museum. I can't confirm anything, but Mike Kunda might know. The
Okay.
screenshot.
So
Okay.
1 sec. Let's see. That's which one's this one called?
The subject is Creed and Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
there's an image with a window.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah. So there.
Oh,
So yeah, he took a still from the film where Adonis is asking to leave the job, and he circled yes. What Kyle said was the Philadelphia Art Museum in the background. Yes, yeah, there it is.
well,
And
Brian had mentioned that, and then Kyle was like, "Well, wasn't that in LA?" So it
mm,
does look like the art museum, but it must just be a building similar, right?
is that what Brian's saying?
Well, he's saying he circled it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I saw that.
he's not certain. We might have to ask Mike Kunda.
Oh, okay,
He
okay,
can't confirm anything.
okay.
Um,
Oh, we need to
yeah,
outsource that photo. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, then he says the screenshots I sent of Rocky's house were all from 1818 Tusculum Street. not the Rocky 2 house, which is in South Philly. It's not that far from the church wedding scene, which was just the exterior. The indoor scene was at a church across the street from Gazzo's Corner. So the pictures that he sent, we thought, based on the interior and the
Hmm.
stairs, that we assumed it was the Rocky 2 house, and Brian's saying that it wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I believe him.
Yeah. Yeah. So then Rocky 2 house was sold for as much as the $200,000 range. I guess the fact that it was a bit of Rocky nostalgia helped raise the price.
Right.
When I mentioned Sly living in Philly, it was after the family moved from New York to Silver Spring, Maryland, briefly before moving to Philly. You can see how close it is to the steps. I'm sure Sly shook his head a few times and said to himself, who would have thought I'd run by my old residence 15 years later and make the steps famous? That development is still there and was probably reconditioned over the years. It's one of the places that I used to pick up passengers from the airport. He must have a service.
I think he might have mentioned he's a limo driver or something.
Okay.
Maybe.
So Brian says, I mentioned about Sly living in the Northeast. I took 3 screenshots that tell the story. The last few shots tell the story about the Creed Mansion, which was here in Philly, not LA. Oh, if you look at the line I drew, you can see it's about 15 miles from the steps. So I think that might be the map he's referencing.
Okay. Do you want me to show the pictures now or?
Well, he's like referencing as I'm reading them. So
Okay. Yeah. I actually will. There actually is quite interesting. So, where is it? The Creed. He's talking about the Creed Mansion.
yeah.
Okay. So actually, I'll read this. He says this is an article called "The Creed Mansion." In 2015's Creed, Marianne Creed welcomes Apollo's son into her mega mansion in LA. So that's where the mansion's based as far as the movie is concerned. The custom built 6-bedroom home features a palatial foyer designed with an incredible double staircase, gilded chandeliers, and cut glass features. Set in LA, California, the address used in the movie is fictitious, 8541 Barrow Drive. The real mansion is located in Philly, just a 40-minute drive from the Rocky Steps, like Brian said. We meaning us as an audience, we first caught a glimpse of the Creed family home back in Rocky 2. That was also the first time we saw Apollo's 2 children, a boy and a girl, Adonis's Creed's older half siblings. Apollo's house was never seen again in the Rocky series, save for the scene in the champ's backyard swimming pool, where he was seen playing with his 2 golden retrievers in Rocky 4. Rocky purists will agree that since this real-life estate was built in 1993, some years after Apollo Creed's death, that the King of Sting never actually lived there, and that Marianne Creed moved into the property at some time after his death and Donnie's birth. So that's really interesting info, and I just want to make sure I got it all.
It does look like
Yes.
a different house. I remember thinking, so the house they show in Rocky 2 is like this cool, like mid-century modern.
Right. It is a different house. It makes sense. It looks different, and it's I like the idea that she moved into it after the death, and it goes on to say here that the real Philly mansion exterior and interior was used during the production of Creed, most memorably in the scene where Adonis tells Marianne he's leaving for Philly. Other portions of the home's interior were used in Creed, including the some deleted scenes from the movie, which we'll go over in next episode. Although the real location does have an in-home theater, this room was not the same room as the one Adonis uses to watch the YouTube footage of Rocky and Apollo's first boxing match. The totally custom house was originally built for a high-profile Philly business leader, says Mark Span Auctions. They listed the property again in November 2016. Following his death, the business leader, his family sold the estate, but the buyer unfortunately lost it to the bank. Jeez.
Oh, that sounds like a familiar story.
Yeah, but he must have had Paulie as a. That's funny. What a very Rocky 5 ending to that mansion.
Right. Okay, so Brian says in one of the episodes, Katie mentioned how stairs and steps play a big role in the whole Rocky series. We even see steps in Creed 2 film, in the 2 Creed films. I think the train I think the trains play an important part, whether it be the L or the freight lines in all the films except 3 and 4.
Hmm.
I'm sure everybody knows that a train going by when the scene was filmed wasn't by accident.
Hmm.
For example, in Rocky 1, a film crew member would be a few blocks away and radio ahead to let them know to get the camera rolling.
Oh, that's some interest behind.
Getting off subject a bit, I sometimes hear Ryan speak about getting different guests from the Rocky series for an interview. About 3 years ago, I had a nice talk with Jimmy Gambina. Sounds like he's an interesting interview. It sounds like.
Yeah, so yeah, he's sorry. I'll let you finish as Jimmy Gambina. He played Mike in the Rocky films. He was that guy sweeping. Goes, Mickey, put your stuff on Skid Row. It's not your locker anymore. And that's Jimmy Gambina. And
Are you deaf? No, I'm short.
That's right. And then he played a character named Jimmy in Rocky 5. who it's so funny. He played Mike in Rocky, the first Rocky, and then he played the same position in the gym, but the actor or the character was named Jimmy.
There have been several incidents.
I love it.
Where it's like Stallone like just didn't put that much thought into it.
I love Sly.
I know. Okay.
I love it, but what I love about it is like, because I am a Rocky purist, and if that's the canon, it's a different character. But so I like to think it's Jimmy's twin brother. Like Jimmy and Mike are twins. All right.
So he about 3 years ago, Brian says, about 3 years ago, I had a nice talk with Jimmy Gambina, who played Mike in Rocky. He had his phone number posted on IMDb, which is rare for an actor. Yeah. He's since removed it, and I never saved it. He mentioned doing things like teaching strength and flexibility. He did that for John Travolta to prepare him for the dance scenes in Saturday Night. I think he means Saturday Night Fever.
Or Staying Alive. Or
he
both.
says Saturday Night Live, so I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, Saturday Night Fever. Yeah,
either Saturday Night Fever or Staying Alive, or maybe.
Yeah, he probably just combined the live with that's right.
Yeah. About a year and a half ago, I was chatting on Facebook with Angie Boyd, who did the bar scene in Rocky. Oh, that drunk girl. Is that who?
No, she's a different.
In Rocky Balboa. Sorry, in Rocky Balboa?
Oh yeah, the one that was like, "You're not better than me. You're not better than me." You just want to punch her.
Why don't you buy us a round or something? Yeah, I was shocked when she told me she's not really a big Rocky fan. Sly wanted her to, according to her, to go to Hollywood and take up acting, but she wasn't interested.
Well, Hollywood's not interested either. She wasn't that great.
No, she seemed like a.
Yeah. She seemed like a pleasant lady.
Yeah. She still lives in the Philly area.
No kidding.
Yeah. The guy who played her friend in the bar scene was a Philly local who was a roofer who auditioned for the part. I heard he had passed away some time ago. Oh, he was young then. Well, that's about it for now. And I already have an email for the fight scenes. Keep punching, Brian.
Yeah, that's actually great information. I know Kyle would have liked to hear that. He loves that behind the scenes stuff. We do too. That's incredible behind the scenes stuff. That girl, I heard too through the grapevine, Brian, tell me if I'm wrong, and other listeners, but I heard too that the reason why Sly picked her as well is because she was such a B word, and he liked that. The same way he liked that. He wanted that the energy she brought to the screen was supposed to be what it was, and but I forget how it was that. I think it had something to do with the fact that the roofer and her were together. And she wasn't there to audition, but somehow people got wind of her and they got her in the film as well. Something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's the only other picture I don't know, somehow we didn't talk about, was Sylvester Stallone visits former Holmes Circle house.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. Yeah.
And there's two women, they must be the current residents.
Yeah. Do you want to, I'll read that real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So Hollywood icon Sylvester Stallone is in town filming the newest installment of the Rocky franchise, which they're speaking of was Creed Part 1. He paid a visit to his childhood home in Holmes Circle. Captain Adam Friedman, the recently appointed commander of the 8th Police District, was the official guest speaker for the Holmes Circle Civic Association meeting last Wednesday, but Rocky Balboa stole the show. No, the movie Pugilist did not make a surprise appearance in the St. Jerome School cafeteria where neighbors meet each month, but his creator and portrayer, Sylvester Stallone, did show up in the neighborhood on January 27th to pay a visit. This is now what the reason why we're reading this is because we talked about did he live in Philly? We were surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
So this confirms it. He did show up in the neighborhood on January 27th to pay a visit to his former home. Members of the Burke family, who live there now, recounted their brush with stardom during the civic meeting. Stallone arrived unannounced at Pat and John Burke's place on the 2700 block of Mower Street around dinner time. The Hollywood icon has been in Philly recently while filming Creed, yet another sequel in the Rocky franchise. While in town, he's also been seen outside the Philly Art Museum, where he posed with tourists for selfies on the Rocky steps, and at Primo Hoagie's in Port Richmond, where he reportedly ordered a couple of Italians along with a ham and cheese. At the Burke house, Stallone posed for snapshots with Pat and her adult daughter, Katie. That's the picture you're talking about. And John and son Martin were not home.
Oh, man.
I know. The Burkes raised 7 children in that home. That's cool. So Pat Burke, she said he was very gracious and very nice about Sly. Pat Burke told the Northeast Times that she and her husband bought the twin home from Stallone's mother, Jacqueline, in 1971.
And they still live there.
They still live there. At the time, Sly was well beyond his years as an Abraham Lincoln High School student and was embarking on a professional career that would see him earn Academy Award nominations for the Best Screenplay and Best Actor for Rocky. The Stallones left few personal effects in the home, although the Burkes still have Stallone's old speed bag mount. That's and they say here that's a boxing device. Yeah, okay. Pat Burke said that she was too starstruck to ask Stallone to autograph the item. Friends later told the homeowner that such a piece of memorabilia could have drawn a healthy price in the collectibles market. Yeah. But you know what? I don't think I would have either, though. I don't think I would have. I think it's a little bit, what do you call it? Not
tacky or something
tacky.
Like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's like, hey, it's cool that he even came by unannounced. They got a picture with him. Like, move on. You know, you don't need to sign anything.
I would die. So,
Can you imagine?
Okay. That is cool. But okay. So I don't answer my door if I'm not expecting someone. So if he did that to me, I would have just lost my chance to meet, like, especially if it's at night. If I'm not expecting someone and someone like knocks on the door, I'm like, oh my God, I don't.
Of course. Jeez, how many people do you have knocking on your door?
No, you know what I mean though. Like, I'm like gone are the days of drop-bys. Like,
it's are you living the purge down there or what's going on?
No, like like when my family, like we used to just be out and about and be like, oh, let's stop by
I know,
like my aunt and uncle's house. Like,
yeah, everyone gets a little bit nervous. I always get a little bit nervous when the doorbell rings. So it's like 99 times out of 100, it's a package or it's a.
Yeah, I mean, and I even have a Ring doorbell, so I usually just like get my phone and like see.
Imagine you saw Sly on the camera.
But so there's one, like if it's at night, I don't know, I'm just always weirded out. Like, I live in the city and you never know. 2, if by chance I would have answered, I would have been pissed because I'm like if it's like I already put my sweatpants on, I have my hair in a ponytail. Like, if I had a chance to meet Stallone and I didn't look good, I would have like, oh,
you're hilarious. You're such a girl. Oh, you're such a girl. That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that's your concern. It's like,
yeah,
if I'm not ready to meet him. Yeah, I'm just not ready. Sly, if you're listening, I'm always ready. Drop on in anytime. All right,
Sly, if you're listening, give me a text first.
Oh wow, yeah, just run it by Jennifer first. It ends here. While it was the actor's first visit to the home since the Burkes moved there in 1971, Sly's brother Frank, who is 4 years younger, has been there a few times over the years. Pat Burke said, "Frank is a Grammy." This one made me laugh. I'm sorry, this line made me laugh. Frank is a Grammy-nominated singer and musician, but nevertheless is probably best known as Sylvester Stallone's brother.
I don't think I knew he was a Grammy-nominated artist.
There is no word on how much longer the elder Stallone will stay in Philly or how many more spontaneous appearances he plans to make. Okay, so that was a fun little article there of his surprise visit to the Burke home and his former home. Is he going to talk about the Frank Stallone picture?
No, is there a picture?
Yeah, so for our audience, our viewing audience here, there's a really cool picture here of Jacqueline Stallone and a young Frank in the kitchen of the Burke home. This was 1960, And it's Jacqueline washing dishes. This is Frank's words. He goes, I can remember the shot like it was yesterday, but it was 1960 watching my mom washing dishes in our Kitchen
Oh,
Park town place in Philly. That's where we would have had our talks. It's amazing my mom would live 60 more years.
I see it now.
That's
She
cute.
looks really good in that picture.
Well, she's an attractive woman. I mean, till
I
she
mean,
wasn't.
before she had surgery and stuff.
I hate to say it, but yeah, this woman. My plea to you, Katie, is just age.
Now, that is my plan, Ryan. I will say that I have a lot of friends who are like not planning or like already doing things.
I know
And
you don't
I'm
want to say
like,
anything; they'll get you in trouble.
but I'm like, you guys quit it. You're cheating. If I'm trying to age naturally, then, in like 20 years, you guys are all going to look like you're 40 and I'm going to,
No, they're not going to look like they're 40. They're going to look like aliens. They're going to look like. I'm sorry. This is good. I'm going to say it. You don't have to disagree. You can keep your mouth shut because I don't want you to get in trouble with your social elite friends there. But this is me speaking as a look. I'm sorry. This is not supposed to be sounding misogynistic, and I apologize if it's come across that way because it's not my intent. This goes for men too, by the way. It's just I've personally. This is just Ryan talking. I have personally never looked at a male or female, but usually it's females who do this, and said, "Boy, you know, she's 60 years old and she looks 60. What an unattractive woman." No, you're 60 years old. And here's the thing, but what I have said is, and look, some 60-year-old women are unattractive just because they were unattractive when they were 40.
right.
But I have looked at 60-year-old women with plastic surgery. I'm like, you look scary, crazy, weird, and a little bit gross. And I don't know who you're fooling. I've never looked at the puffed lips and the stretched faces and the carved cheekbones. And it's just like, oh, stop. Just, it's weird and it's gross. Demi Moore just came out with some of her facial surgery and she looks like it's like this. It's like her.
I heard somebody on the radio or something talking about that. They
Like
said
this.
that she looks like the Joker or
Yes,
something.
she has
I'll have
her
to look it up.
indented like cheek implants, and it's indent. Like, I'm not joking. It's like this. Like, why would you think? Oh, that looks better. It's okay to get wrinkles. I know we age. And it's just
Yeah.
and I know Sly's done work, and he's cheating it just a bit. Like I hope he slows down a little bit. I mean, yeah. Anyways, so yeah.
Yeah. So
You're
I
doing a
think
good job,
that's
Katie. You're doing a good
it.
job.
I think that's it.
No. We have more.
No, I mean of that email.
Oh, okay.
Of that
Yeah.
email.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on. This is another one from Brian.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attachments on this one. So I'll see.
What's
if
this one called?
Creed movie extra.
Okay, yeah, so I can get it ready.
Let me I'll see if I can try and caption them.
It's not too long, and he numbers the each photo. So when you're getting to it, I can bring up the photos of those.
Okay, cool.
To see it. Yeah.
Okay. So Brian says, "Hi everyone, it's your friendly Google guy again. You might want to edit out anything you deem too long at the end of episode 18. Ryan mentioned maybe I know where the fight took place. No, it's not England, but here in good old Philly. I know this because I was there. I was one of 800 extras that were there for 7, 10 to 12-hour days for the fight scenes. First, I'll do the explanation of the photos before I continue with the story. Okay, so picture 1 is the studio, obviously.
Okay, 1 sec here. Picture 1. Because I want to talk about them too. So picture, what was that one? Okay, picture 1
is the studio.
Okay,
obviously.
Now, just for our listeners, it's interesting what they've done here in the photos that he'll talk about. So there's, for our listeners, there's a bunch of chairs. Let's say about 100, 150 chairs, and there's green screen, like green drapes around the ring. So they green screened the crowd.
Or there were some live people there because there's chairs, but outside of that,
outside the ring, they CGI a lot of the crowd. That's pretty impressive because it looks really good.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
2 is the holding area where we had our meals, signed in, and served as the wardrobe and makeup department.
Okay, yeah. So it's just people, eating what's called like box lunches, like pre-made lunches of sandwiches and what have you, while they're sitting down there eating, waiting to be yelling in the crowd. Okay.
3, 4, and 5 are the blue seats for the 800 of us extras.
Oh, 800 seats. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So real people, there were 800 real people, and then they green screened the rest of the stuff.
the larger crowd. Yeah.
6 and 7 show the two studios with the large used for fight and small for the fire breather scene.
Yeah, okay.
Which was filmed after the fight. They used about 200 of us to do the walk up for both teams, doing about 5 takes each, and had us finish at about 2 a.m. Wow.
Jeez, wow.
8, 9, 10, and 11 show the difference between the live crowd and where CGI was used.
I had no idea that much CGI was used. Wow.
Yeah, he says the same for 12, 13, and 14. Interesting.
So it was 12, 13. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. Holy. I guess so. It makes sense. I mean, that's a lot of people to control. So you kind of have to. It's the beauty of CGI now, and they would have done that for the first Rocky had they had the technology and the ability. I assure you, instead of having that black background. Okay.
Okay, so the other shots not numbered are kind of self-explanatory of the soccer club in England. Now on to a typical day. The first one was spent just doing the Michael Buffer announcement with about 10 takes. Is that his name, Michael Buffer? I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Sly was staring in my direction in deep concentration. Talking to one of the crew members, which lasted about 20 seconds. I wanted to raise my hand and say hi, but I froze. LOL. I thought to myself, why is he staring at me? Maybe he wants to fight me. Haha. As for cheering the assistant director who did most of the talking, told us those born in January, February, and March cheer for Creed and the rest for Conlon. Since I was born in February, I got to cheer for Donnie. We were told that each round was being filmed in 3 parts, which with each lasting about 5 takes. They handed out hundreds of those little lights to stimulate our camera phones. They actually filmed a small scene where the director told a camera operator whose name was Ryan to film us as we were taking our seats with the camera about 10 feet away from me, but it wasn't used in the film. Shucks. One last story before I stop commenting, since I don't want to give spoilers as we're just starting the fight on. He hasn't. He wrote this before we finished.
Okay.
On about the third day, some guy in the crowd yelled, "We love you, Rock." Before you know it, the entire studio gave him a standing O, which lasted about 30 seconds.
Wow.
At the end, Sly was actually clapping for us and even looked a little emotional. Aww.
That's great.
The assistant to the director, who's from LA and probably never experienced something like that, got on the mic and said, "Hey guys, that was effing awesome. I kid you not. That's something I'll always remember. As always, keep punching. Brian the First."
Wow. That's a great background stuff that you and I have never experienced, being that close to Rocky or Sly, playing the Rocky character, and
he was an extra. He was an extra in a prior movie too, wasn't he?
I think in Balboa as well.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ryan.
No, it's just saying it's really cool. You got to be a part of that history and to feel that emotion of the crowd cheering Sly and the Rocky character. And boy,
yeah, to live in Philly, eh?
At least for the filming.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so moving on. The next email is from Greg the First.
Okay, drum roll. Here we go.
He's famous. Ryan, Kyle, and Katie, I wanted to start by apologizing for my last email, which maybe came off harsher than I meant it to be. Since the episodes are always recorded so much sooner than they are available to listen, I feel like I'm always playing catch up. So I had just sent an email suggesting that you were entering the best stretch of the Creed film, not realizing that you'd already recorded at least one episode covering that part of the movie that was not exactly complimentary of the film.
Okay, so what he's saying there, folks, is he sent an email saying the rest of the film is, the best thing that he loves. This part of the film very much, and he's right. We recorded our kind of somewhat critical, whatever, of some of the scenes in that. And so when he hears in the order of what's released, he's like, "I can't believe they just crapped all over that scene." When I specifically said, so it was not it was not a response to his. We at the time of that recording, we weren't aware that he had written that email, and so it seemed insensitive. And so people keep in mind that the emails we read are often after we record what you think you're hearing. We just can't line it up very well. That's all. But don't stop emailing, because as you can see, it gives us great things to talk about. But just keep in mind that it's not an immediate response type email. That's all. Okay.
So he goes on to say, so I was definitely frustrated when I fired off that email. Now I'm pretty sure you've already recorded the finale episode,
Sort of.
which I think, which I think is probably 2 episodes away from the episode I just listened to, ? And as Ryan just pointed out, don't try and keep track of it, basically.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. Email us, talk to us. Don't wrap your head around it too much. Yeah.
Where you will probably cover what I wrote and am not looking forward to it. Sometimes I think I struggle to articulate exactly what bothers me about how Creed has been covered, so I have thought a lot about that recently.
Oh boy.
I think it boils down to this. When you covered Rocky V, your approach to the movie was, in quotes, "This is widely regarded as the worst Rocky movie. Is it really that bad?" And you spent most of your coverage of the movie trying to identify all of the positives in the movie, and I agree that there are plenty, and show why it may have received a bad rap from critics and fans over the years. With Creed, at least to me, the opposite is true. The approach has been, in quotes, "This is a very popular movie among critics and movie fans, but is it really all that good?" And you have spent a significant amount of time looking for any faults the movie may have to back up that thesis. Even the decision to use awful Creed music covers to intros to the episodes gives off that impression, as opposed to the wonderful music intro that was used for most of the Rocky series.
Okay, let's pause. Let's just pause. There's a lot of Greg. All those points are very valid. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, and my response to that is that's actually my defense. I don't want the show to be a vacuum. Meaning, he's absolutely right. I think I blew up Rocky V maybe more than it deserved. So I will be fair to that and say, yeah, maybe I gave it more love than it even deserves. And so to the flip side, maybe I give it more criticism than Creed deserves. So I recognize absolutely what he sees is happening. I don't think it's planned though. It's organic. As people know, we don't plan anything. It's just I don't know. It's weird. I think maybe had we covered the Creed films first before the Rocky films. Maybe if we'd done at the start of the podcast. So you have to keep in mind, I've been doing this for 5 years almost, and it's not. I love it, and don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm tired of it, but I guess there's a little bit of exhaustion on my part, a little bit where it's like. It's just like the Creed films don't excite me the way Rocky films do. But I recognize, again, maybe this is the Rush analogy. Maybe I should have used this at the beginning of the Creed film. It's like I recognize you, Greg, that yes, it is a well-filmed film. Yes, it is loved by critics galore and by fans galore. And I could have approached this season of just regurgitating what critics and people already say. So I guess there's a part of me that's kind of maybe I'm going to challenge it a little bit. Maybe I'll be the Clubber Lang, a little bit aggressive, a little bit unnecessary, maybe a little bit irritating, to maybe engage the listener a little bit, or to challenge maybe some of the listeners' preconceived notions of the film. Like, is it as great as people think it is? And so I've offered that thesis, and people can disagree. And that's fine, because then they're going to still walk away with saying, hey, I love this film despite what Ryan, Katie, and Kyle have said. Now, Kyle likes the film better than us, particularly me and you. Or they can walk away and say, you know what? I never saw those criticisms before, and maybe I kind of agree with Ryan and Katie. But at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to be unhappy. And that's where I kind of feel bad. I don't want anyone's experience to be unhappy. And then regarding the music, yeah, that's just my humor. I can't help it. I can't. It's absolutely stupid. But that's what makes it ridiculous and fun for me. It's just because I edit these shows every week. It's a lot of work, and it gives me something to kind of look forward to before I start editing. It's like, I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm going to find the most recent horrible cover of Creed Arms Wide Open, because everyone always has made fun of the joke that Creed is not a film about the band, and even the singer has made that joke. So that's just my tipping my hat to the obvious that this is not a Creed band podcast. It is a Creed movie podcast, but that's my Monty Python, Conan O'Brien, David Letterman type humor where you bury a joke until it's irritating, but then maybe it gets funny again. It's irritating, it gets funny again. So that's my kind of humor, but it's not for everybody. But and this is not on Greg. It's just for anyone that hates the song. I'm not going to stop. And for Creed 2, it's going to be a different Creed song, and it's going to be the same song every episode until Creed 2 is over. Katie, are you going to do the sing along karaoke version if I send that to you?
I mean,
that's the spirit. Okay, so I'll be sending that to you shortly. So
I don't know
because well, it's going to happen because I promised the listeners. So I'm going to tag it on at the end of our after the Adrian episode. I think it'll be at the end of that, so people can listen all the way through to hear me, you, and hopefully Kyle sing in full, arms wide open.
No, not the whole song, Ryan.
Yeah, the whole song. But don't worry about it. I'm gonna send the same karaoke track to everyone, and then I might splice it where you have a verse, then I'll do a verse, but you sing the whole thing the best you can. I'll see what happens.
Oh my God. The whole song is a bit much. I can see maybe the chorus.
Okay. Well, maybe at least the first 30 seconds.
Okay.
Like we do, just like we do for the show.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yeah. So I know, I'm overly critical probably because Creed is my least favorite. But yes, like you said, I think because he likes Creed so much and is feeling like we're coming down hard on it, he maybe thought that there was some intention behind the song. So I'm glad that you clarified that there's nothing intentional about that at all. And I could be wrong, but my sense is that for those of us who are like hardcore Rocky fans, anything that's not like, they could have, freaking Denzel Washington play Creed, and I still would be like, nope, it's not good enough.
Yeah,
sure. Because it's not Rocky,
Though I will still stand by my argument. I know what you're saying, but I wonder what the film would have been like had they gotten Chadwick Boseman to play Adonis.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. But you know what I mean? Like that type of, he's such a great actor, charismatic actor. You watch Chadwick Boseman on film, again, it's so heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking if anyone dies, but I mean, it's just the selfish part of me, because that's all I know him as an actor. So I enjoy his films and his persona. Ironically, again, Black Panther, the worst Marvel movie, directed by Coogler and co-starring Michael B. Jordan. However, the best part of Black Panther, ironically, was Chadwick Boseman. He's so charismatic and good at what he does. Anyways, so it would have been interesting had a different actor played Adonis. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So what else does Greg have to say?
So then, okay. So then Greg says, all of that may be completely unintentional, which yes, it is, but it just makes listening to these episodes a little less enjoyable than in the past.
Sorry, Greg.
At its heart, the core of all 8 movies of the Rocky franchise is motivational and inspirational. All that being said, you do not record these episodes purely for my own enjoyment, and it is certainly your prerogative to critique and cover these movies however you see fit.
He's in our head, though. He's in my head.
I just wanted to hopefully make it a little more clear why I feel the way you do. I do. So thank you for that, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
As for episode 17, I enjoyed it a lot more than episode 16. Here are some details you may be interested in on Goodison Park, which was used for the crowd shots and ring entrances for the Conlon fight. But interestingly enough, not for the actual in-ring action. Interesting. So Greg says Goodison Park was seen in Creed as the stadium played host to Adonis Creed's climactic boxing match against Liverpool's own Pretty Ricky Conlon, played by real-life Liverpoolian.
Sure, yeah, it's a tough word.
Boxing champ Tony Bellew. Interestingly, Conlon versus Creed match is the first in Rocky series that was filmed against a green screen, as we just learned. All previous matches seen in the series were fought and filmed in real-life arenas or locations. It was Tony Bellew, himself an Everton fan, who helped arrange for the Creed filming to take place at Goodison Park, home of the English football team Everton FC, nicknamed the Blues. Are you into football, Ryan?
No.
Yeah,
That's all.
I don't
No.
know anything about it either. So we have no comments. So thank you for that.
Yeah, but there are listeners who are from the UK. So
Yes.
thank you, Greg the First, because though Katie and myself know nothing about European football, there are many listeners from the UK who do so, and Europe who listen to the show. So
Mhm.
thank you for that information. Yeah,
To be fair, I don't care about American football either. So
I don't either. Just hockey for me. That's all I care about.
I do watch the Super Bowl just for the commercials, though.
Okay, I just watched it for the nip slips.
So Greg goes on to say, on the night of January 19th, 2015, the packed stadium was filled with fans watching the Everton versus West Brom football match, and guests were told to remain in their seats during halftime to await a message from a special guest. The massive video screens at the park flashed a brief teaser. Filming for the new Rocky movie is taking place at halftime. To be included, please stay in your seats. Whoa.
Okay.
The special guest turned out to be Sylvester Stallone, also a Blues fan, appearing via video message, wearing a Blues jersey and Rocky Balboa's signature fedora. Click here to read more about that. So he links to an article.
Okay.
We want this to be a glorious moment, Sly said, as he encouraged the crowd to participate by recording their liveliest chants and cheers for the Conlon versus Creed match. We'd like to see your faces on the screen, so please help us out. We'd appreciate it. And most of all, go Everton. Months later, the nighttime footage of the crowd were placed in the movie using CGI, and the actors filmed the fight in a boxing ring on a soundstage in front of a green screen.
Oh my goodness, it's like Greg and Brian combined information here.
So
that's hilarious. So
CGI was like real
people.
crowd. Yeah.
So that's how I was like, how do they do all those CGI people? That's hilarious that Brian provided the pictures that showed the ring with the green screen. But unbeknownst to Brian the First, Greg the First comes in and says, well, let me tell you how they got the people on the green screen.
And in the same episode. Like,
that's crazy. That was not correlated. That is hilarious.
That's called a happy coincidence.
Yes, that really is. Yeah, and Brian actually sent us a screenshot of Stallone talking to the soccer crowd on one of his other emails that I showed the patron people. Okay, so that's so cool.
Very cool. Okay, so the next email is from Patrick Mantell. Oh, wait. We read? No, this is a different email.
Yeah, well, and there's one more from Brian and one more from Patrick. But okay, go ahead.
So Creed episode 17, shorts. We did talk about shorts and Tommy Gunn. Hi, Ryan, Kyle, and Katie. I was just listening to episode 17 of Creed, including your conversation about the Stars and Stripes shorts. These types of shorts were worn in every Rocky/Creed movie except Rocky 2 and Rocky Balboa. Wasn't Apollo wearing them in Rocky 2, though?
No, he was wearing red shorts, I think.
Was he?
Or okay. I'll have to check, but keep reading. I'll check while you're reading.
Regarding the original shorts that were worn by Apollo, Rocky 1 and Rocky 4, by Rocky in Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, and Tommy Gunn in Rocky 5, I think there are two possibilities about where these shorts are now. By the way, how did it work? Apollo gave Rocky the shorts in Rocky 3. Rocky gave them back after the clubber fight, and Apollo wore them again against Drago. Mm-hmm. Then Rocky took them from Apollo's heritage, washed them, and wore them again himself against Drago, ? Marianne didn't give it to him as at the point they hadn't spoken since Apollo's funeral. These shorts got around quite a bit.
Right. Tracking so far. Okay.
It's a good point. So he's saying, could that have worked? Like, is that right?
Rocky so I think
Marianne didn't give them to him.
Yeah. So I think the long story short, regarding the shorts, Rocky is the pair of shorts that Apollo wore against their first fight together. And side note, Rocky 2, it was red shorts that Apollo wore, just like I thought. Those shorts Rocky wore in Rocky 3, then Apollo wore them again in Rocky 4 when he died in them, and then Rocky wore them again against Drago. Totally agree. Okay.
So I actually think what happened, since Apollo died in them, that the morgue or the funeral home, when they dressed him for his funeral, gave them to Rocky.
Sure.
Like Rocky requested them.
Yeah, Marianne wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one possibility could be that Tommy Gunn just kept them. And we talked about this. So,
Right.
however, in his championship fight with Union Kane, he didn't wear them.
Okay, so I was wrong. I said he did wear them, but I got mistaken as he's about to explain here that the shorts were worn during his uprising time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, as he's saying this, I'm like, oh, okay. Why not? He fought his way up in these shorts. Why not wearing them in his most important fight? So that could be an indication that Rocky got them back from Tommy and still has them in his wardrobe. Or Tommy still had them at the end of the Kane fight, but didn't want to wear them because of his falling out with Rocky. So it's still up for debate. So good points. It allows for us to say that Rocky got them back somehow. Patrick says, I know that this is not season 5, but one more thing about Tommy Gunn. It's always fun to wonder what happened to Rocky's opponents. Thanks to Rocky Balboa, we know what happened to Spider Rico. And due to Creed 2, we now know what happened to Drago. But what about Tommy Gunn? I like to mingle Tommy Gunn's character with the real one of Tommy Morrison. Although the title bout was relatively easy as Union Kane was handpicked, Tommy Gunn was a good fighter. At least he could hit. So I tend to think he defended his title one more time and then surprisingly lost it. My reference is Tommy Morrison's real record, as he was unbeaten until 1991. He had a fantastic right hand, but surprisingly lost to Ray Mercer by a brutal knockout. And then he links to a YouTube video. Whereas I'll have to watch it later. Whereas Morrison came back and won the WBO heavyweight championship in 1993 against George Foreman, I think Tommy Gunn never recovered from that loss and was mostly forgotten. Wait, Tommy Morrison won the heavyweight championship against George Foreman? Did you know that?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a pretty it's a whole other episode. We talk about that throughout the series, of course, but if he just kept his life straight, that's too bad. He could have had a longer, healthier career. Yeah.
Okay, so that's when George Foreman came back when he was
You're right.
old.
That's the so in theory you could argue, this is the Kyle theory, that Tommy the Machine Gun fought a returning fight of Clubber Lang.
Oh yeah, Clubber's supposed to be George.
Yeah.
Apollo's supposed to be Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Is that the story? Okay.
So you could argue that maybe Tommy and Clubber had a fight.
That actually would be good. I think that would have been so that's fun. What ifs.
Rocky what
Patrick
if.
says, so have fun recording tonight's episode. I'll be listening as soon as it's released. All the best, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick. Awesome. Our favorite German.
So he didn't I don't know why I was thinking, so Apollo didn't wear the shorts in Rocky 2.
No.
No. What was he wearing?
Yellow. He was wearing the yellow and black stripe, I think.
No, Apollo.
Oh, Apollo's wearing red and yellow stripe. Or something. Okay. They were all red. Okay. Nice and high cut for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this might be the last email. It's titled Fire Barrels Statue Press Conference Ham and Eggs from Brian Granco. Some attachments. Hello again, everyone. I know I've overextended my stay as far as messages, but I want to throw a quick one.
I want
to throw a quick one. I want to throw a quick one out there. Katie mentioned the press conference. I can't confirm, but that might be the Pennsylvania Convention Center, the same building that Rocky Mason Dixon one was held, and is a few blocks from City Hall. Speaking of City Hall, the statue is on top of the statue on top is not Ben Franklin, but William Penn. We were wondering. We thought maybe it was Ben Franklin, and he's saying it's William Penn. Okay. Thank you. There's a photo with a brief description. Another photo shows what a ham and egger is. Okay,
yes, so William Penn was the son of the admiral and politician Sir William Penn. Penn was a writer, early member of the Religious Society of Friends, and founder of the English North American colony, the province of Pennsylvania. There you go. And ham and egger is a ham and egger job, meaning a weak effort or a dud, comes from boxing, where a ham and egger fighter doesn't have much fight in him. It's just someone doing it to earn a meal. There you go.
The idiom. Oh, so we were wondering. I didn't know So the ham and egger phrase, we were curious if it was a real phrase, and clearly it is. That it actually comes from boxing. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And that
Or
there's not much
boxing made it that way. I think there
Right.
is more than one meaning, because I did read that on the internet. There is more, but that in the world of boxing, it means that you're basically fighting for your supper, your food, your ham and eggs.
And that's what Rocky said he was.
Yeah.
Interesting that he used that term.
Oh, he gave up on himself.
Interesting. Okay. So Brian says the fire barrels at the Italian market aren't to get rid of garbage. The vendors burn the cardboard and wooden boxes for heat during the cold months for themselves as well as the customers. They go back to about the 1930s and were banned a few years ago. So they use portable heaters now.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were saying like we didn't think
So-
it was.
So that fire barrel that Adonis jogged by was still allowed, because that was 6 years ago. So that was like the ending, near the end of their term, fire barrel. So they're there no more.
Yeah. I wonder what he means by a few years. Like,
Oh, maybe just a few years ago.
yeah.
It could literally just mean it's a recent ban. Yeah.
Interesting. 3 other photos are of the Rocky movie being shown with thousands of fans facing Center City from the steps, which is done every 4th of July weekend.
Oh,
That's cool.
wow. Every weekend.
Um,
Wow. Every 4th of July weekend.
4th
Wow.
of July week every year on the 4th of July
Cool.
weekend. They give out free blankets. That's a lot of blankets.
Wow.
And snack foods. This year it was shown with fans in their vehicles in South Philly near the sports complex.
Stupid COVID.
The last photo is from an interview from the steps with the cast on Good Morning America after Thanksgiving. I had the thrill of attending this event. After the show, the cast came over to sign autographs, but no such luck for me. Dang, Brian has had so many
Yeah.
opportunities.
It's crazy.
So
He's-
yeah, so the photo is I don't know, the Good Morning America host with Rocky, Sylvester, Michael B, and Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Is that it for that email?
Yep, keep up the
Okay.
good work, Brian the First.
All right. Thanks, Brian. And thank you, everyone. But this is actually a longer episode than I anticipated. Not in a bad way. Hopefully, if you've listened to the end, we thank you. Again, this is a Rocky podcast. I always say, people, stop talking about Rocky. Sorry. But this is incredible information. I don't think you and I would have been able to come up
No.
with any of this background stuff. This is literally some
No.
insider baseball information. Like I wouldn't know any of these stories. This is incredible. We thank our listeners, Brian, Patrick, Greg the First. This is all incredible. Kim, your friend, even just her insight. So obviously we can't do this every episode. I'm not saying guys don't email us, but this was a great kind of bonus. This is like a bonus episode before we kind of start rolling into Creed 2, and I'm in the middle of my move. So it's kind of a nice little just talk about Rocky episode. So yeah, I'm excited to get into Creed 2.
Me too. And I even watched it this week. It's good.
Isn't that
Okay.
opening sequence amazing?
Yes. And then I did also watch the deleted scenes.
Oh wow,
So,
you're well ahead of the game here, boy.
which I sort of wish again, like they should have just kept him in.
I know.
I don't know. I don't, you know.
I don't know why movies don't, with the deleted scenes, have an option where play movie with deleted scenes inserted. Like you can have, like, there's 2 options: play the movie or play the movie with the deleted scenes, even if they're not quite finished. Like, you understand that because there's the deleted scene. Like, if it doesn't look quite right, I wish they would give you that option. Like, I still want to see the story being told as it was going to be told before it was deleted. But anyways, what am I? Who am I? I'm just a customer. What do I know?
Just a customer. Now, before we roll into Creed 2 and to leave to end Creed on a really good note, I was curious if you could share what you think what the best part, in your opinion, of the movie Creed is. Best
Well,
scene, best part, best whatever.
right.
however you want
And
to
this
define
is that's a great question. And then we'll definitely we'll close the chapter on this. Well, I said it throughout the series, and I guess and I feel bad. Here's the thing: I feel bad that a lot of the criticism was thrown at the Adonis Bianca relationship and the little bit of lack of charisma from Michael B. Jordan as an actor. But the positive of them is I think Tessa Thompson's a better actor than Michael B. So I think he actually elevates his game a little bit, and I think that chemistry. And we talk about. Oh, here's a question for you: really quickly, yes or no? Just yes or no. Was her chemistry better in part 2?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. So I don't know if it's just an actor thing or if it's just them getting better along. So Greg, the first good things are coming regarding the Creed storyline. Secondly, the highlight, of course, is Sly, and I know it's a kind of a cheap out, but every scene that he was in, including the ones with Michael B. So Michael B. supported Sly in this. That's the job of a supporting actor, is to support your actor or support the lead. Sly was amazing in this movie. I think it's the best acting of his career. I honestly believe that. Like, was he not just amazing? The way he emoted in this film when he got the cancer news, when he was talking to Adonis in the locker room, like it just tugs it. So, just like Rocky V has the Mickey scene, it's one of the best scenes in the franchise. And I know we kind of, it sounds like we were hard on this. I think we were hard on Creed. Doesn't mean I didn't love it there, Greg. I do. And there's things about it that here I've said it 100 times. Stallone's best acting. So if there's something to be accredited to this film, I believe it's his best performance. Now you could argue there's better storylines somewhere else in the film. That's a film franchise. That's fine. But Stallone as an actor truly deserved the Golden Globe that he received, and it truly was robbed of his Academy Award because this was the best acting of his career. There you go. That's high. I think it's high praise for the film.
It's extremely high praise. This is still positive. My only we also get an amazing actress that is introduced to us in this movie, Phylicia Rashad, as Marianne Creed. So those two are they're both icons. I just wish they would have had more.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see some Sly Phylicia Rashad scenes. Like that would have been
some in the bedroom. In the bedroom? Okay.
Just because there's,
I know
that would have been really awesome. Yeah. But I agree with you. Yes, great acting. And I had kind of forgotten until we rehashed them. There were some tear jerkers in a big way.
Yeah.
Because Sly's acting was so good.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Well, thank you so much, Katie. This was a great big bonus episode. This is great. Hopefully our listeners and fans enjoyed as much as we did. If you want to send us an email, gtdwithrr@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Become a patron and help pay for the feed and show a little bit of love to the hard work we put into the show. And yeah, well, Katie, it's all you.
Ding, ding.
All right. Stop recording. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. I hope I didn't take time away from. I hope it didn't take time away from you.